Okay, so this is our reflections on Saturday the 7th, which was our kind of community fun day thing at Emily's Place / Camp Silver. So, the plan.
The plan was very much aligned with what we do with the family line and all that. I think we kind of felt in our comfort zone.
Yes.
We were there early, we were done, we were prepped. I think they were quite surprised at how quick we just got everything done. Setting up different stations because we were told these kids are from rural areas, they need structure, they need you to be, we've got physical barriers being set up so they can't wander around, keep them in line kind of thing, so they will just do everything they want to do. Yeah. So we were like, okay, right, on board, got our station set up, and then it actually happened, and the teachers from the schools will have a completely different way of just let them go on and do what they want to do.
That, I guess,
learner-led.
So the activity, so we had like a potted sports station, which basically turned into football because we had some kit. Because we had some kit from Brent at the Scottish FA and some other bits from friends of Heather.
They were all fighting over certain numbers because all the famous footballers, Premiership footballers that they know are like,
And then we had like a game station, so there was a couple of board games, some puzzles and building blocks and stuff like that.
So the reading corner and the arts and crafts. We were going to do like a drawing,
like a kind of freeze, and get them to go to the cars and try to encourage them and drawing it, but it turned out they wanted to colour in, and that was a total hit to think.
Interestingly, the colour, I've never been so overwhelmed with people wanting to colour in. They were like, really excited. Then when I told them they could draw, because they were really running out quite quickly, and the girls really just wanted sort of the princess pictures. They didn't want to do the superhero stuff. So when they were running out, I was like, you can draw on the table, and they were like, what? Like, just draw on it. And
I wonder if that's part of the structured thing for them, is that they're colouring in the lines, they're colouring in something that's there.
The teacher said to me that they like to conform to colouring in.
So if you gave them a blank bit of paper, they're not going to kind of come away and draw a picture, they're needing to colour in.
I was actually like drawing little flowers for them to colour in, and they were happy with that. It was just...
I think also they want something for themselves, so they can maybe take it away.
Well, they all wanted to write their name on it and take it away. It kept coming up to like, you were going to keep it for them, and I was like, I'm sure your teacher will be keeping it, but I don't know if
I guess that's the other unusual thing, is that we keep talking about the teachers. It was a Saturday. And there was teaching staff there. Whether they were being paid or not, I don't know, but there was certainly two of the teachers that we'd met at Millimani a couple of days before were there, and also one's from Town View.
Although they did seem to be there to observe, they weren't really interacting much. When other adults did from time to time, but the teachers didn't.
I think they were really interested in what we did and how things in Scotland was similar to them. They were speaking about how they did follow the British curriculum, but it's changed slightly to this more children-led learning, which they found was working significantly better.
So they have CBE, so competency-based education here, which is pretty similar to curriculum for excellence kind of style.
I think there's different opinions about how effective it is.
I think the education system here it's not dissimilar to what it would have been like in the UK, in the 70s. The kids are expected to pass an assessment after every class group at school, and so if you don't pass, you're held back.
I also noticed that they were really engaged in Duplo, so really big blocks, and that was older children as well, and they spent ages on that, whereas children same age at the back wouldn't even look at them.
And they wanted to, because when I went in there, they were building it as tall as they could, and whoever had the tallest one was like the best, and they wanted to show everybody, like the teacher, and then like they weren't for you can't have my blocks, mine the biggest, so they didn't take them off, so they were quite
they got a few footballs and balls, and me and Lynn were up beside the football area just watching. Then all of a sudden, one of the guys had just made a basketball hoop out of like a long stick and a tire thing, and
light tire,
and then just erected it up, and we were like, oh my goodness, that would cost like an arm and a leg. And
it was Vincent from the library, so he's like a mechanic / engineer by trade, I think, so he can turn his hand to anything. But you're right, it's just like, oh look, there's a basketball hoop.
And that was him that was trying to put the gazebo up on his own.
Yes.
Sticks and I was like, do you want a hand?
So we paid for a tent to be hired just because Emily has trees in her backyard, but they're not big enough to create enough shade, so it was important to have a tent. So we'd paid for one, but another one just kind of appeared, but it didn't have any legs or a centre pole or anything. And
sticks from nearby were what were being used.
Yeah, Elaine and I went inside to get some water and out of the shade just for 5-10 minutes, and we came back out and there was another tent. I know.
They'd like walked down to Emily's compound, and there was about 100 of them. And there was remember the women were getting all the food together in big pots and just in a little small area.
And a machete was on the go as well, I think, for cutting stuff. And
so I think
my head always goes to like even just putting up the gazebo, there was kids running in and out of it, and it would have been cordoned off, cones. It would have all been set up beforehand. I also like the fact that we really believed that we were going to have little groups and walking around and doing different stations.
Not a chance.
It wasn't chaos.
No, it was organised chaos. It was like it was chaos, but it was good chaos. And we're just having fun.
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier, where actually the kids are really good at going, okay, this is what I want to do. But we're organising everybody, not myself. So they're like, okay, like the football, all the boys that wanted to play football were quickly in their kit and split into 2 teams, go, and they played football till that football was worn out with...
How many times we pumped it up again?
Slowly with being in the thorn bushes, over the fence, whatever, but that ball's going to get played to death.
But it was
but
age groups. They were all like, something that I noticed like back in Mintlaw would be like, oh, I wouldn't be playing with them because they're the younger ones or whatever. They all kind of just got together. It was great to see.
There was a girl with her little sister like looking after her, and most were like, oh, go away, you know. And, and she had the little, remember she had the little picture, I love my family. And
they're quite self-sufficient, and the same when they were getting water. Actually, when
they just help themselves,
just come get it, and it's coming out of this big barrel, and like some of the wee kids came along, and they couldn't tip the barrel, so the other kid just picked it up and did it. Like it was, they were made sure that the little kids were okay, and like I think we all noticed that the barrel they were drinking water out of had once had battery acid in it, you know. So
it was absolutely roasting, and one girl was wearing a duffel coat, and there was somebody with a woolly hat and a woolly jumper.
I also noticed, like, I was conscious of there being Emily having dogs, and me being aware that, like, I just love animals, and balloon skins were lying everywhere, and I thought, oh, just while it's kind of like folk are distracted, I'll just pick them up. And within minutes, there was kids coming, helping me, picking up the balloons and giving them doing their footballs. I was like, wow, like I would need to blackmail kids for this.
I think there's a bit of following by example, is it? Like Lynn said there. They organise themselves really quickly, and if they're given a task or they see somebody doing a task, they will do it as well. But they pick things up really quickly. We had a parachute, and Elaine had, I think it was Elaine, wasn't it, about the song about the fishes, and they were singing it all afternoon once they heard it the first time. It took them 30 seconds to pick it up.
I was playing a game with them, and she needed to go away to get a drink of water, so asked one of the boys, the older boys, probably 15 or 16, to take over, and he was delighted.
He was really good at it. You be the kid, because the spinning thing for the colour. You'll love I get really jump going again. And he was getting lost, so I took to kids. I was a bit of beer in it, and then we gave a lassie a lens of the Queenies. What do you want to hear a show? And she was like, oh, I can get come over.
It's nice to see, is it, that they can take a bit of ownership and it did, It was, and equally the kids were sufficient at, like you said, getting the water themselves. But we saw one boy who had been trying to fleece everybody for lollipops. I think he'd had half a dozen by the time. But he obviously needed a little bit of kind of quiet downtime, so he found himself a book, and he went and found Emily, and he asked her if she'd come and listen to him reading a book, and it was really sweet. They just sat at the side, and he was just, I don't know, it was like a colour book thing, like My Dog Is Blue, that kind of thing. So it was fairly basic, but the joy he got from that.
Was that the Burton book that we were reading with?
Yeah,
it was a different book. It was like that.
It was fairly basic, but just the joy he got from that, and Emily's whole attention in what was, you know, a loud space. They were able just to find a little bit of quiet time to.
It was the dancing for me as well. It was all generations.
They're so cool.
And it was like that little guy as well. I was like, you're not dancing. He was like, oh, away they went, and it was like mass, almost like line dancing. If you think about it. And it didn't matter whether it was a teacher, Emily, the kids. I mean,
the ages.
They're all
they were loving
didn't matter
it.
when we tried.
You did get some snippets and we were shaking our booties, but
it was. It's interesting, isn't it? I think we've all said that yesterday. Is there something about Kenyans or African people? They've just got rhythm built in, unlike us, like
from tiny
hard rock people moving about.
The tiniest of kids. We're all like cardboards.
Like, you know, we made a bit of a joke about this, but it was important for them to see us trying something that we didn't know and we couldn't do, and that, you know, that they were teaching us as well. So I think that was quite good for them, because they're not very confident at trying new things, like skipping and things. If they didn't know how to do it, they were a bit nervous to try it. So it's about learning there as well.
Definitely.
So we had. So I think we said, didn't we, that the women were at the side with the Jikos cooking up beef pilau and a cabbage side dish, and it seemed to take for ages. But I think I was writing about it in my notes last night. It's because cooking is like the women's space, so that's their time to catch up and leather and and you know, it's a cultural thing, and that's why everything takes so long to do with the cooking stuff. But the kids all had a really good hearty meal, so they'd had tea and bread in the morning, and then
they were allowed to go up for as much as they wanted,
and then their pilau and cabbage as well, and I think they had some crisps and biscuits and whatever. So they've had
the funkiest looking colours of crisps I've ever seen in my life. Bright coloured crisps. Pink and purple and orange. I think so.
It's like a contrast between the quite plain food that they get served, and then all the E numbers and everything else. Like boiled pot crisps. I wonder how their parents were feeling when they came home.
Because they're high as kites, on all the E numbers.
One thing we never mentioned yet, I don't think, is that they met at the school about 8 o'clock in the morning, so they were so excited for their day ahead. That was more than 2 hours before they actually arrived.
And then they didn't arrive till
about 11.
About 11, and it's
supposed to be 10, wasn't it?
And what do you think? It's what, 20-minute walk? Half an hour?
Well,
20 minutes
and
maybe.
I said, did you walk farther? Like, no, we met at school and only walked down here, and it's like they didn't think that the walk to school wasn't like, they didn't include that as the time they'd taken to get here, because they just went to school like normal, I guess. And then they just come down to Emily's, which was just a 2-minute trip for them.
I know they struggled to get people in the village walking 2 feet to their local school to do stuff.
Well, this wasn't this day, but you know, like I noticed when we got up really, really early, there was kids walking to school, and it must have been about 6 o'clock. And they were really little.
You know, because some kids will be walking 10k plus to get to school.
Even the teachers at Jumbie were walking 10k to get
one of the boys said that as soon as they get to 5 years old, they
can go themselves.
They can go themselves.
It's so dangerous as well, because we've seen how fast the cars travel along the highways, and equally the dangerous manoeuvres that cars and vehicles are making. In fact, I think we didn't speak about that in the Chumvie video, but audio, but there was a close call with Emily and Kimau on the motorbike when we were going out to Chumvie. So, you know, we've witnessed how dangerous the road conditions are, and then it only takes a wee toot at the side of the road to be
I think the only thing lacking for me yesterday was the sort of evaluation from the kids kind of idea. It kind of came to a natural end. It would have been interesting to hear from them, but obviously there was a language barrier and it would have been quite difficult. But I mean, we could see how interactive they were and how happy they were.
Well, I was crying again because one of the girls had drew a picture of me and her and wrote my friend and asked me if she could get my number so that she could call me for chats after I leave. And as soon as she turned her back, that was the tears going again underneath my shades.
Yeah, so I had a really interesting conversation. I won't say her name just because what she said is confidential to her, but we had a really interesting conversation with somebody who's been with us about life as a young woman in Kenya, and then I guess life as a young woman in general, and it really made me think about how difficult it is for them here. It's obviously difficult in Scotland and the UK, but quite clearly she was having a tough time navigating life, not really knowing what direction to take, what to do, how to live. It was
whilst also dealing with body image issues, stigmatism from other people based on her desires of what she wants to do. Because she asked me about my tattoo, let them, and I just kind of explain it in a way of it's to not let other people impact on you. And she had just met her like 30 seconds ago, and she, like you as well, she just give me this information, and I was like, don't let anybody or anything stop doing what you want to do. And you're beautiful, and it's really hard because that does emanate. Emanate is not the right word, but that happens. We've got that issues, and so that was very similar, but added extra pressure with if you're seen to be doing a certain job, like going around on a motorbike, then it's seen as being derogatory kind of stuff. So it was really hard here.
Just makes you think though, because I think my experience here before would be that mental health and well-being is kind of seen as we don't do that kind of thing. We don't talk about that. And I think we said before, didn't we, that Emily and the guys in the Travelling Librarian gang are changing the world, but they're only a relatively small group, and it will have a big impact. But it takes a lot of people to have a wider impact about that. And so I think it's important for us to have those conversations with those people, and hook them up with other people. So I said I'd pass on some details of some other girls that I know from Kenya and other places who are out there in the world. I've got a friend that is currently living in Austria who's from very rural in Kenya. So I guess that's both Melanie and I said to her was the world's your oyster. You know what I mean? Find something that lights the fire in your belly and go and do it. And I was going to say a sweetie word then. And let them think what they want. You do you.
You do you. That was exactly what I said. You do you. And I did also say that it took me a while to get to that point myself.
It doesn't happen overnight.
That I'm not an expert. That I'm not preaching anything that I don't believe myself. But I said if I was you again, your age, I wish I could have lived my life the way I am now. So just do it. Don't think about other people ever. In the way that negative impact it can have.
She's got a lot of self-awareness, but it's just the confidence part of it was holding her back, and the culture.
Although I saw her dancing, which
they were doing TikToks. I went up to them and I went, "Are you doing TikTok?" And they just looked exactly like my nieces at home, just doing their little dances,
really sweet,
and it was really cute.
It was sweet.